What is up, everybody? This is Recap or Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 5, Episode 16, and it's called Chapter 92, Band of Brothers, directed by Robin Gibbons.
Yeah. Oh, she directed this one too?
Yeah.
Ooh,
she was like
girl.
Still in town, I guess. She's like, I'll do this one too.
Since I'm here, I'll hold the camera. Stick around for the end of the podcast, guys. We're going to go through our roundups. I don't know if we have any. And some of your recap roundups, so be sure to stick around for the end of the podcast for that.
And to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into this episode, y'all.
Chanel. And then also, can you just plug the new Twitter account?
Absolutely.
Things have been kind of like blowing up lately.
Just popping off a little bit. We've been having some convos, and be out here just like, protecting the Barchies and the shippies. Check us out at recap_rewind pod on Twitter. That's our brand new account. Check it out. There's lots of convos going on. Jumping on the conversation. It's the best.
I'll just say it's not that I'm like all Barchie. I'm not. I'm all whatever happens. But when I see people tweet being like, Barchie is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. They don't even make sense. They only have sex and like didn't. It's like, guys,
we must protect.
Grow
this
up
story.
a little bit. Like it's okay if like these relationships kind of, like some things happen here, some things happen here.
Yeah,
ebb and flow. Like it's totally normal. I'm not saying Varchie can't exist ever. It's just right now, maybe Barchie does have a moment to kind of, if these two characters come together and deal with the trauma that they've been facing. What has Veronica been facing? Like her jewelry store?
We can talk about this today.
Anyways, I'm not going to get into it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And our listeners understand. So yeah.
Exactly. Thank you everyone for, connecting and joining in the conversation, because that was fun. It was fun to look at and watch. So quick trivia. The episode is called Band of Brothers. It's based on a television show from 2001. I don't know if you all remember. I never watched it. Everyone was watching it, but I wasn't watching it. It's apparently the story of the Easy Company, the 506 Regiment of the 101st Airborne Division from 1942 to the end of World War II, a collection of 50 portraits illustrated by archive footage and recounted in voice. So, storyline. It's just giving me storyline. What did you think of the episode? In general,
like it was okay. I mean, like coming off of last week, it was so hype and like the energy was so like it was on fire. And then this one, I was like, meh. And like the tone, like even just reading some people's tweets, like the tone was like so happy last week,
right? And
then we shift back to what the characters were dealing with prior to the Pussycats coming back. So like I felt like the order of episodes was a little awkward. Like maybe we could have had this one right after the one before last week, just like tonally, like I just felt like they were a little off, because then it was like Archie's still like stuck on that, Betty's back to like her dark self, even though last week she was like grooving and like having a good time. That's the only sort of weird sort of feeling I had watching it, but like I get it, like maybe they just couldn't logistically order these in the right way. I don't know, what did you think?
I would agree with you. It did feel it didn't feel out of place in the sense that like I almost feel like Josie and the Pussycats episode was out of place in the sense that like it brought a better energy. It kind of, it reminded us and reminded, I think, the audience, just based on everyone's comments on it, like how great this show is at like, bringing back old Riverdale and bringing back old characters and doing a really good job at it. I think they did a fantastic job. We raved about it, obviously to the point where our girl Asha Bromfield gave us a little shout out. Hey girl. And hoping for that spinoff for realsies. At this point, we're like, let's go. But yeah, going back to Riverdale, like regular Riverdale, and like hearing all the problems and the blah blah blahs, I'm a little. It was a very dark episode. It was a little disjointed. There were a lot of issues that I had with it, just personally, with the way that they broke the story down. And we'll talk all about it, because us, we are ready to rip
all about it. Rip it.
All right.
But we haven't ripped one in a long time, so I'm ready to rip it.
Let's go. All right. So starting off, it's Jughead's narration, and he talks about how Archie is still being haunted by his platoon.
He even says, he's like, now that Josie's gone, it's like back to darkness. I'm like, literally the episode looks darker. Like,
yeah, like I couldn't see some things. There were some things I couldn't see at all. It was like physically dark. Yeah, it shows Archie in all these different shots, and he is being followed by his dead platoon. Like there's like, you know, like he's in school, he's teaching a class, and he sees them all in the back. Like it's very like eerie.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, this is the part that like annoyed me already. I was like, he's like, meanwhile, Veronica is also haunted. I'm like, is she? Is she though? Is she really haunted? Is this poor girl really haunted by all of her demons? Like, you can't make, like, you guys are trying so hard. If we want to go on this like VARCHIE versus BARCHIE situation, you cannot pit what Veronica is going through beside Archie at all. There's no comparison.
But do you think they were? Do you think they were trying to do that?
I mean, Jughead was trying to like do the segue during that intro, like by saying like, meanwhile, Veronica is also haunted by someone who is flesh and blood. And I was just like, this is bad writing. I'm not happy with the way that
and that was our concern from the beginning, right? Like we were always worried about how are they gonna sort of tie in Veronica's trauma to like the rest of the three characters.
Yeah.
And it's not the equivalent at all.
No.
And I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I guess the narration was the only way that they could like weave through it, but like no, it doesn't come close to it. But can I ask you really quick, like, are you at this point ready for Archie's like army story to be over?
You know what? I think that maybe one more episode of just kind of closing up the story. I think it does need something after this episode, but I am ready for it. I think that especially the way things ended, it kind of ended a little lackluster in my opinion. Just like
that's what people were saying on Twitter too.
In the way things just kind of like you were ramping up to this big thing and then it just ends with a phone call.
Like a phone call.
And you're just like, oh, okay. I guess we all feel better about this now. Are you okay, Archie? Like he's not okay. Like I don't think that that's what solves it all. So I think that he has a little bit more ways to go. I'm interested to see how they're going to illustrate that because like I don't know how much more you can do without like showing like a dead platoon of people following him. So what more are they going to show in terms of his darkness that we haven't already seen? But I feel like there needs to be a little bit more resolution before we move on. Like maybe it's like Erica's now ready to leave, like even if it's just like to close up that storyline. But then what is Archie left with? You know what I mean?
Something.
Like
he'll find something.
Go back to firefighting, go back to teaching, go back to football coaching, like whatever
anything, literally anything else.
Go back to the mines that you got to finish that Palladium or whatever. Like he's got so many things going on. It's true. How do you feel about it? Like, are you ready to be like, I think I'm
ready for it to be done. Like, especially calling the episode like Band of Brothers. Like, okay, it's like calling the episode Saving Private Ryan. Like it was like that. Like it was like story. Just have an episode, finish it off, let's be done with it. Not only just be done with it, like I think his trauma still is something that exists within him. It's always going to be sort of a part of him. But like to pin it on one of the generals and like he needs to get revenge and he needs to like get the guy fired, like that doesn't happen probably not a lot of times. Ever. So it's not it's not a realistic sort of closure to all of this. Regular people sometimes they can't get that justice. Like these guys are like high up and like they get paid and like paid off and all these things. So to have that as the only thing that's sort of gonna like give him closure is I don't think the right like message to give. Which is probably why
why they like ended his like thing versus the general right now so they can continue with healing him somehow.
But I am ready for it to be over for sure. Like I'm ready for them to like, even I'm okay with Eric staying on and just being like a normal person and like having fun and like going out with friends and like trying like to sort of get back into regular life. You know? That's what I'm ready for.
That's fair. Well, going back to regular people and regular people, let's talk about Veronica because it continues on with her the very intro getting a video call from Chad. And he says he has an idea to give all the funds back right now. And she says, like, I don't need your help. Like, I'm about to divorce your ass. Like, I have all the money. I'm ready to go. The first thing that I wrote down, obviously, you all know, why are you telling him your plan, you idiot? Like, why did she say, like, I have almost all of my investments ready to go. I'm going to be done in like less than a month and like go fuck yourself. Like, how does she think that she's going to like outsmart this man?
And he's just going to sit there and be like, oh my God, she got
like,
me.
Yeah. Like he obviously wants you to like come back and get help from him. So you would think that she'd be like, I'm good. Thanks. Goodbye. Click. Instead, she's like, here's what I'm going to be doing for the next 45 minutes. Goodbye. Like, obviously, he's going to come and try to fuck shit up. Like, it just annoyed me because I know that they gave Veronica that, you know, line so then she can expose herself. So then all the things that happen with her storyline happen. But I'm like, is she smart or is she dumb? Can you please explain to me? Is she the Wolf of Wall Street or is she actually an idiot? Like, is she like cutthroat like Hiram or is she just stupid? Like, there's like only two things you can be.
I don't see how this girl was the she-wolf.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the problem I'm having seeing these two characters like line up. Like, girl, if you were the she-wolf, you would be way more cunning, way more strategic. Like, it's so hard to back her up when like there's so many inconsistencies in her character. I'm just trying to like go with it and like whatever. Like, I don't know.
They're trying so hard to like give her like a moment to be like, okay, let me strategize next, like, which is what happens this episode, and it ends off kind of like whatever. But at the same time, I'm also just like, if you didn't say anything in the first place, none of this would have happened. So you're stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. There's lots of things to say about Veronica and her stupid storyline, but back at the church, another storyline that I'm just like shaking my head at. Penelope is in the back of the congregation and Cheryl and Kevin are about to do a song from Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And I actually started laughing out loud because Penelope stands up just before they're about to start the song. And she's like, I had an epiphany, y'all. No more singing ever again. Like my son told me that it's not
told
happening.
Me. Yeah.
Because he didn't even speak and we're singing way too much in his church. Like,
I don't understand what's happening with this. Like, are they working against each other?
I thought
they started this together. Why are they doing all? Are they like stealing people's money? Like, I don't understand what's happening.
I don't understand.
And no one really does. Like on Twitter, people were like, guys, this is not even like,
it's not funny.
What's going on? It's not funny anymore. It's not cool to see Kevin and Cheryl sing anymore. Like, yes, their outfits are amazing, but like, what's happening here? Like, nobody knows.
It's so true. And we'll talk about it again because it just gets even worse as this, like, anyway, we'll talk about it. Then it cuts to AA. Jughead is 1 week sober. Yay, Jughead, 1 week sober. And now he's ready to go on his apology tour. And he starts by visiting the Cooper residence. He goes there, but Alice is the only one home. And she says that Betty's been away. She's out there like doing crazy stuff on the lonely highway. And it shows like Betty like hooking. She's like, hey, like on the highway.
Pick me up,
girls. So then it cuts to.
I mean, at this point, she might need a new strategy because it's not working.
It ain't working, like girl.
Weeks, girl, and it ain't working.
Like, I don't know what you're doing out there, but like, it's not working for you. So it cuts to, but I guess it just like shows like she's going down like a path that literally makes no sense. And I think that's what we're supposed to see in her right now. Anyways, cutting back to Archie's house, he comes in with a paper that basically says that the general is retiring, but he's retiring with like all honors. Like he's getting like a 21 gun salute. Like everybody's like shouting out to him and stuff. And he's pissed. He's like, this is BS. Like, I can't believe that, you know, like he's getting this, like he can't get away with it. And Eric basically tells him like, maybe it's just time to like let go of all of this. Like, it's not going to happen. That newspaper story, like obviously flopped. Like, it's not going to happen. And Archie's like, no, I'm going to do this. So like, he's obviously adamant that he's going to do it. So, okay, fine, Archie, go do your thing. Then it cuts to Jughead going to Principal Weatherby. And he apologizes to him because Jughead done miss a lot of school, even as a teacher. Like, even as a student, he was missing school. He's missing school as a teacher.
He's like, you are gone.
He's like, sorry. And Weatherby tells him, he's like, I know you're going through a lot of shit, but like, you can't teach until you're ready to teach again. And I was like, in brackets, I was like, even though you guys were desperate for teachers, you're going to tell him that he can't go back to teach. Like, okay.
Yeah, like
cool. Like, who's teaching right now? A monkey? Like, I don't understand. These poor kids in English are like,
sorry, Jughead, your class has now been replaced by a monkey. We don't need you.
It just shows a monkey.
A monkey can write better than you, Jughead Jones.
Oh my god. So then it cuts to Pearls and Posh, and she gets a call. Veronica gets a call.
Does she ever get people come into her store to buy any pearls?
Never.
I haven't seen
person.
A single person.
Yeah, it's just like a set. Like she's just there, like doing God knows what, getting robbed. That's all. Like we've seen more people rob her store
insurance
than like
claims.
her actually like selling. Yeah, insurance claims. So she gets a call from the SEC to look at her books, and so she plans something for the following week because she's obviously not ready. And she realizes that Chad tipped her off. No shit, Sherlock. Like she tipped her off. So she would end up having to go to him for like the help that he offered. Mm-hmm. And so then she comes up, she schemes up this plan, and she goes, here's what we're going to do. We're going to steal my dad's palladium, and then we're going to sell it. And then we're going to have the money.
To what? What the money to do what though?
I mean, she'll have the money that her investors have been giving her to pay off the debt, right? So like she's just replacing the money that she's using to like pay off like Chad's shit.
Right. Okay.
So that's what she's using the money for. But like the way that it all plays out, I'm just like,
why didn't she just steal the palladium from the start and not have a Ponzi scheme?
Pete, like I please explain. All of these storylines doesn't make no sense whatsoever.
I will say Reggie and her are super cute together. Like the one good thing that comes out of their storyline is at least we get to see this cute chemistry like
together.
Just seeing them together. I think Charles Melton is such a fun actor. Like he brings so much like light to the scene. And like, is this the scene when she asked about Hermosa?
Yes, because she's like, I don't know where the palladium is. Yeah.
She's like, I don't know where the palladium is. She's like, and he's like, well, I think your sister Hermosa will know like where it is. She's like, oh, and he's like, let me just call her. She's like, let me call her. She's like, no, I'll call her.
Yeah.
And then he's like, because like we're friends and like
we like dump and see each other.
He's like,
what
the F does that mean? And he's like, you know what that means. And then he fully calls her. He's like, hey, baby. I'm like, whoa, it's like that. Like, it's not even like first name basis.
I know. I was like, oh, okay.
And she got like, jealous.
Dating. Yeah, she got jealous. So to your point, I think it was fun to see Veronica, Reggie, a potential veggie.
For sure.
Rising. And I'm kind of excited about it because I do love them together. I will say like they make a good team. What they're doing right now is trash, but like I love them together. So he gets the info that he needs from Hermosa. They know where to find the palladium. I just got annoyed because I was like, why doesn't she just like ask her dad at this point? Like you're in a bad position with your husband.
She can't. That's like the worst thing she could do is ask her dad.
So she's gonna steal from her dad. Yeah, that's the other option.
But like, that's the thing, right? Like this is her problem. She adds another problem to her problem.
Yeah.
This is what it's a slippery slope. Like she just can't get herself out of it because of her ego. So in the end, like, do we feel bad for Veronica? No, because it's her own ego getting her stuck in these situations.
She's not dealing with a demon. She's dealing with her own stupidity. Like
she is the demon. Literally, she's the she-wolf.
She is the she-wolf in sheep's clothing. No, I think she's a mess, and you're absolutely right. Like everything that she's doing is pretty self-inflicted. So like, why are you doing all these things? Why are you being shady? And I think a couple episodes ago, you mentioned even like they want to take her on this road to like even sound a little bit more like Hiram, how he went on this dark path.
Yeah.
But I'm like, he didn't try to steal from his father. Like Hiram's bad, but he would never steal from his dad.
They still did bad things, right? But like, yeah.
I know, but
I know what you mean, but
it's stupid. Anyways, moving on to Thornhill, another
I can't. Every scene they cut back, and they cut back a lot. I was like, I roll. I was doing laundry during their scenes, like because like nothing's really happening. Like it's just like extra. Like it's like I don't need any of this right now.
So Kevin is like, oh, your mom is in your way. Like, first of all, what are you doing here? Like, Kevin, get out of here. Like,
where's Fangs and the baby?
Like, yeah, you just had a baby. What is wrong with this storyline? I don't understand why he's still at this church. And
he wants to go to Broadway.
He's like, Let me just audition one more time. So he says that you need to perform miracles in order for the congregation to now like follow you instead of follow Penelope. And then Kevin goes, luckily, I love David Copperfield as a kid, aka magic. So like we're gonna do some magic tricks to show that you are like a saint. Okay, Kevin. Like, let's do this, I guess. Like, fucking kill me. So then it cuts to Archie at home with Frank, and he's trying to remember what happened. He has a flashback of like, you know, what happened, the whole story. So you kind of understand what happens with Archie, which I think we knew a little bit already. But essentially, Archie felt really sketched out about this mission. And when he found out, when he realized that it was going to be like a death mission, like the general was like, you have to go anywhere. You have to follow my orders. Yeah. So he went. But then when he was trying to get a connection to like tell everyone that we're all getting fucked up, he left his platoon to find higher ground to get a signal. By the time he got back, everyone was dead. And so he feels like really guilty about it. He says like, it's not right. And Frank basically says what he's been telling him this whole time. Like, as much as I want to tell you, like, you're going to win this war, like, you're not. Like, it's the army. You're literally fighting the army. Yeah. So, like, it's not going to happen. Even though I wish you could. And then Archie says he doesn't care. He's going to fight him anyway. It's not about winning. It's about, like, fighting. Then it cuts to Veronica and Archie, and they break into Hiram's office in the middle of the night. This is when I had to literally like turn the brightness on my screen like the highest possible. Yeah. And they go to the model of Sodale. Yeah. And they find palladium like in the roof of like one of the houses. And so they pull it out, and she's like, we're going to have to melt this down, and we're going to be able to sell. I'm going to make doubloons. I'm like, are you going to put your face on those doubloons, girl? Yeah. Like another coin with her fucking face on it. So I was like, I wrote down, is Hiram really that stupid that he told Reggie that he's hiding it under like a fake model box?
Hermosa. I guess he told Hermosa.
Oh,
and Hermosa
right.
told
and then
Reggie.
Hermosa.
But even then, damn, Hermosa, like you, like just a couple episodes you were helping your dad. Now you literally screw him over and told Reggie where those things were. Like what did he even tell you that made like what did he say? He's like, I just need to like check in on the palladium. Do you remember where it is? Was the D that good that she like got hypnotized over the phone?
I mean, I'd like to believe that it is.
But it was not. It wasn't even a FaceTime. It was like a phone call.
Yeah, off screen. We didn't even get to see it. Maybe he sent her a dick pic, and he's like, Tracy.
I mean, I would hope so. At the very least.
You got to do a phone lurk now of the like their convo.
Yeah, the D pic or the palladium.
The D for the P. So she decides that she needs some help like with this whole plan that she's got. So then it cuts to Pearls and Posh the next day, and she wants to use Cheryl to like use it as a facade because she has her own palladium mine now. Right. So she's gonna use it and be like, we found these doubloons
in your mine.
In your mine.
Yeah.
So like they don't know that it's Hiram's. And then Cheryl's like, sure, like that sounds fine. Like I love when people like drop my name or whatever. But T2IL, I'm gonna go be Jesus now. And like Veronica's like, what? Okay, bye.
What
like
is happening?
She literally just leaves and she's like, I'm about to go perform a miracle. I was like, what the fuck is this episode? What is happening right now? Okay, cool. I guess
to me, it just looks like they really don't know. They didn't know what to do for Cheryl and Kevin this season. It truly just looks like that. Without Tony, Cheryl's like lost, like truly lost. Like they didn't know how to write her character. Purpose? What is her purpose? Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess they'll go back to that because I don't think that they like, what is the other way out of this storyline? I have no fucking clue, especially after this episode, the way the episode ends this week. I was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
So anyway, it cuts to a phone call with Sam and Jughead. Sam calls Jughead while he's in front of Pops, and he basically threatens him. He's like, you need to send me your book, or like we have to drop you as like somebody who's on our team. Like everybody's asking for this book. And he's like, I'll get the book. He goes to talk to Tabitha, and he starts off by saying, I'm sorry for putting you through what I put you through with the mushrooms and the running away and the whatever. And she's like, that's okay. So then he asked for the book. And this is when things got a little shifty for me. Yeah. So many things get shifty, but this is one of the big things. So he's like, okay, well, like, I'm kind of looking for my book. Like, did I write anything? And she's like, yeah, you actually wrote like a full book. And he's like, okay, like, where is it? And then she goes on to say that Betty gave the book to Jess, which we know.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, basically he's screwed. But what I wrote down was like, it doesn't make any sense because, as we know, a couple episodes ago, he went back to New York. He yelled at Jess about like getting rabies and trying to remember that night.
Yeah.
Did she not like bring up the fact that like
I guess she didn't. She like thieved his book. Yeah.
Like she just stole the book. Like,
I wish they kind of explained that a bit more. Like, why did she take it? Is she gonna use it? Like,
yeah,
she should have already published it by now. Like, what was the whole thing of her taking that?
It must come back later because like
hopefully.
I can't imagine him just like not having his book anymore. But at the same time, I'm also just like, you could have just anyway, it's fine. If she didn't decide not to do it because she's doing it because she wants to sell it herself, then I get it. But I was a little annoyed. Anyway, he's screwed. Cuts to the ministry, and Cheryl performs her very first miracle, which is turning water into that good sweetness, maple syrup. And everybody's like, whoa, like gagging. And Penelope's like looking at her like, you were so dumb. Like, she's like looking at her so annoyed. She's like, I hate you.
See,
this is stupid.
I don't understand what's happening. Like, didn't they start this together? So why are they now like teaming up? Why are they like competing against each other? Like, I don't understand.
Like, why can't you take your mom to the side and be like, hey mom, like, I really just want to do this congregation on my own. Like, I don't want you to be involved. Like,
I really don't get it, guys. Like, I'm very confused, and like, I don't even know like where they're gonna go with this to make it interesting.
I have no clue at all. I agree with you. I just don't understand. So then it cuts to Archie, and he goes to visit his general or ex-general or whatever. And he basically tells him, he's like, you did this, you knew it was going to happen, and we all died. I'm asking you, soldier to soldier, to like stand down on like getting your fancy awards or whatever. And the general basically says, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, don't cross me. You know that like it's your word against mine. And Archie even tries to like threaten a tribunal. He's like, we'll do an investigation. And he still goes on to say, like, don't try to fuck with me. And Archie's like, I'm not going to bury the truth. Like, it's all going to come out, like, because I can't help it. Cuts to Archie and Eric at home. And Eric is like, this is it's going to be pretty traumatic for the families if you decide that you want to, pursue this,
bring this back up. Yeah.
Archie's like, you know what? That's a good point. I'm going to ask them first for their blessing. And if I can get their blessing, then I will proceed.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to Jughead in the bunker, and he finds so he's like losing it. He's like not sure what to do next. He finds the old novel that was given to him like in the beginning of the season, after the flash forward where he like sleeps with that girl and she has the book.
Yeah.
He sees the book, and then he sees like a bottle of whiskey right beside it, like in his briefcase. So he grabs both of them, and obviously he's going to go on a bender. So I'm like, okay, Jughead's going to be drunk again. So then it cuts to Archie going to visit the first house of, I guess, like one of the people from the platoon.
Yeah.
And he talks to the mom, and she essentially blames him for not bringing his son home. And I will say that these moments I really enjoyed. Like, every person that he went to, like, you saw like the dead son of that family.
Yeah, it was shot really
well. I think it was a powerful message. And like, as much as like we can care or not care about Archie's story, but I think the story they're trying to tell was still really beautiful. And like hearing different perspectives, like they chose like a mother, a brother, and a wife. So like they were very strategic in how they told the story, and hearing the different perspectives. Like at the end of the day, the mom was like, do whatever you want, but I trusted you with my son's life. And like, I will never be able to unlive the moment where like I got that folded like flag, like at home, like open the door and getting that flag. And it's just like, it's sad because that is
the real stories. Yeah.
And it's really like heartbreaking to think about. It actually can give me chills.
The one that really killed me though, like, I know it's a very serious conversation, but like when he goes to see, I think like, was it the wife?
The wife, yeah.
Or the sister? She had a baby, right? She was like folding laundry.
Yeah, the wife, yeah.
And someone like, as I was literally like just thinking about the scene, someone on Twitter was like, as if she had a newborn baby like in a playpen on the grass,
sitting in
like
the like, bush.
she had the combo with Archie. She was like tying the laundry.
Yeah.
She turned around and she like picked up a legit newborn baby.
Child.
Like, where was the newborn? Like on the lawn?
Just like chilling, rolling around on the lawn. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to that part too. But yeah, it was still cute. But yeah, I know. She says like, I have a baby. Here's my baby.
Yeah. And it was like obviously fake, but like I was like, but where were you holding that? Like you could have just been holding it and then like talking to Archie. Like it was just funny.
Anyway, so then it cuts back to where was I? So then it cuts to the auction bid. So it's at Pearls and Posh, and she's trying to sell off these doubloons, and Hiram, I guess, found his way into this auction, and he's trying to like bid. I kind of liked it. It was cute. Like they use like little sound effects for when he was putting up his thing. And she doesn't want to give it to him. So like it's between him and Mr. Sand, and Mr. Sand basically outbids him, even though at the end he's like,
yeah, like Hiram's like, hello.
Yeah. And then Hiram's cheese. So then he goes up to her and she's like, next time, don't crash my auction where I am selling the stuff that I stole from you to buy back from me. I was like, what? I just couldn't deal with this, because I was like, you should have just given it to, like, gotten your dad to take them, because then he would,
then it all would have made sense. Like he would have paid you and then he would have had them again.
And it's like null and void, and you didn't have to ask him for his money.
That's so true.
Instead, you took his palladium, sold it to someone else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your dad's going to be pissed. That being said, I will say that episode with Hiram and that backstory, it keeps resurfacing for me every single time I see Hiram now, because now I watch it and I'm really rooting for him, because I'm just like, she stole your fucking palladium. Like this is your dream that you wanted. So I feel more upset about it. Whereas if we didn't have that context, I'd be like, okay, whatever. Like,
because like it means so much to him, and maybe she doesn't know that. Like she doesn't know how like far-reaching that is for him. So
that being said, I do feel like it's kind of shady that Reggie never shared any of this information with Veronica at this point.
Oh my god, yeah,
right?
He knows the
whole story. So you'd think that he would have.
Maybe he'll say it. Maybe like next week when like she's like, "Why did Daddy get so mad?" He's like, he could be like, "Oh, because like basically like it's his whole reason for living."
Yeah. Just as have a great night.
Just as an FYI.
Like
it's literally the reason why your dad stayed alive this whole time.
He's like, I'm gonna steal the palladium that I know your dad's been working his entire life for, and you can melt them into
it's actually so tight on Reggie for doing that. It's so tight.
Rude. And a part of me almost feels like they're positioning it so Hiram hates him so much that he has a justification to kill him. I'm just saying. Because otherwise there's no reason for anything like that to happen. But like every single time I think about like the Riverdale death, because we know that somebody, and not that I like to listen to anything RAS says, because he's always like saying
overly
hype
and like that's like his
things.
middle name.
He does say that by the end of the season, we're going to have someone from season 1 die. So it's either going to be Hiram but Hiram was in season 1, or it's going to be Reggie, who technically was in season 1 as well, even though it was a different actor. So I don't know. I can see that happening, but I don't think it makes a lot of sense to me personally. Like, why would he even do that to Hiram after all that he's given him and also like done for him? And I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. Especially to your point, if Reggie was like on Veronica's like D, like she he was exactly like so into it. He's like, I'll do anything for her. I've had a crush on you this whole time.
Exactly. If she got him and they were sort of like, because right now they haven't really crossed that line. They are not really hooking up, or not that we know of. So yeah, like if they had crossed that line and there was something a bit more emotional for Reggie, I would 100% understand. He'd be like, man, maybe one day like she'll love me, but like there's really no reason why he like turned on Hiram that drastically.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, like it's a little
like it's not fair. Anyway, that's my side note. I know you all still hate Hiram like blindly, but like I really do feel for him now, especially like we know the context of why he wants his plate.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, it literally makes no sense. She should have just stolen her dad's money and been done with it. Instead she like involves someone. Anyway, you guys already know. So then we cut to the second house, and it's a brother who's like fixing his car, and he talks about how his brother was a part of the platoon and he asked for his brother's support. The brother's like, honestly, like, do whatever you want to do. It's fine. Like, I miss him and that's it. So that was cute. Cuts back to the ministry, and Kevin's like, the second miracle, her hands are bleeding just like Jason's were. I was like, what? Jason's hands didn't even bleed this entire, like, he got shot in the head. He didn't get shot in the hands.
He got shot in the head.
I was like, do you mean like bullet holes through his hands? Like, I don't understand what's happening. So anyway, she's like, my hands are bleeding. And everybody's like, amazing. And again, Penelope's just like, eye roll. Then it cuts to Archie, and he goes to the third house, and it's the wife with the baby on the floor. And she also says, she's like, honestly, like, nothing's gonna help the fact that he's gone, but like, you do whatever you see fit. Honestly, like, I could give a fuck. I gotta take care of this baby that's been on the floor this whole time. Oh my god. So then it cuts to Kevin and Cheryl about talking about the final miracle, and Cheryl has an idea. She's like, it's gonna involve bees. I'm gonna have bees because, like, you know,
like, where did the bees come from?
I have no effing
She's
clue.
like, I'm now the queen of I'm like, but I thought you were the queen of maple syrup, and like
I don't understand,
wearing red, like, and like, why the bees?
She should have like gone into like a barrel of maple syrup and like,
yeah,
like, I don't know. It
like,
just
I
didn't
understand the connection. Yeah,
there was no connection there. We'll see, I guess, what happens. But Kevin's like, I'm allergic to bees, so like, I don't know what your miracle is gonna be. So like, you do your thing, girl. Like, I can't. Then it cuts to Veronica, and she gets a call from Chad talking about his new investment, Copter Cab. And I'm glad that they explained this after, because I was just like, what the fuck? So he offers her, like, do you want to be in on this investment? This is what I was telling you about. And she's like, no, thanks. I got my money. I'm good. And he invites her to the launch party anyways, because like, they're going public.
I don't understand who Veronica and this guy is. Like, when did you have a profession in stock trading and the market? The fact that you crashed a helicopter and almost died, you thought you would be a silent partner in this company and no one was gonna find out? Are you dumb, or are you dumb? Like, was there no other industry that you could have tapped into and like been a silent partner?
Yeah, the first thing I thought about was like,
in the end, it was just like, again, like, to their characters, we're trying to believe that they're like this top echelon of like Wall Street brokers. Yeah, no, you guys are literally dumb asses.
Worst investments. Go invest in Apple, iPhone, something. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, literally anything else. Like, this is not going to take off. No pun intended. So she says no thanks, but she's gonna go to this launch party. And then after he hangs up, Reggie's like, why are you gonna want to hang out with that scumbag? And she's like, I've been on the defensive this whole time, but now that I have all my monies back, we can go on the offensive, and I'm ready to take down Chad and maybe even Daddy. I was like, stop calling him Daddy. You're treating him like shit right now.
Exactly.
I don't like this situation. I got actually, when she said it, I was like, fuck you. I was like, Hiram should be like, get your name out of my mouth.
It's interesting though how they're sort of like, if they are doing that intentionally, I don't know, but it is sort of shifting now. We are sort of like siding with Hiram a little bit more because we do understand where he's coming from, his motivations, and like all these little things. And like, if something were to happen to him by season's end, you're gonna have a lot of sad people, including us
100% crying probably. So then it cuts to the bunker, and
I will say really quick that he hasn't been seen on set for the new filming.
No.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling about it.
Me too. Like, every week I'm like, I feel worse about it. Anyways,
and
we'll see.
Just going back to the interview that we had, shout out to the interview that we had with Mark Consuelos. He was pretty tight-lipped, but
he was,
in a way that's like something happened.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't like it.
Let's keep going.
Okay. So back to the bunker. instead of talking to, so I wrote down, instead of talking to his ex, who may be triggering for him because he decided not to go to New York and pick up this book that Jess stole, right? And Tabitha was like, you need to recover, you need to like get sober, so like maybe don't go see your ex that like might trigger you to like do drugs again. Instead he steals someone else's book and drinks himself like to a stupor again.
This was like the moment you start to root for this guy, like, again, he's down. And it's not to say that like he can't have moments of like this sort of relapse or this sort of thinking through, but like you were gonna like plagiarize, like you were gonna go that far. You're gonna go that far after everything that we just went through with you and the freaking rats.
Yeah, the Rat King, the fucking Rat King.
Like, I don't know, guys. He's just pathetic in my eyes. Yeah. Like, again, like
I literally wrote down, can someone go get Jughead? He is so waste. Like the way that he decided to do this instead of actually like go talk to Jess and maybe even apologize to her. He's literally on an apology
and be like,
tour.
What's happening? Like what?
Why couldn't he just be like, I'm so sorry, Jess. Can I have my book back? But also like, I'm sorry for being such a shitty boyfriend.
Yeah.
Why would you make him steal someone else's? I know why they did, because like the writing wrote something stupid, but I just don't understand why they would have made him go this way when he's trying to heal. We're trying to root for him. We're trying really fucking hard to I'm trying really, really
hard to stand on that sideline and root for Jughead Jones. But let me tell you, it is hard.
You are not making it easy, y'all. Yes, very much that. So then Betty messages him and she's like, hey, my mom told me that you were at my place. Like, what's up? And he says he wants to talk in person. And then it cuts to the Cooper Res, a really tight shot of Betty wiping off her makeup.
And I love the song that's playing in the background. Yeah. I was like, I'm loving this.
But I think it was like directly like it had something to do with like that vibe, like what they're dealing with right now. Like, you're not talking to me, or like something like that. I don't remember.
What do you think was the significance of that shot of her wiping that makeup?
I think it was just a beautiful shot. Yeah. And we just want to see Lily Reinhardt up on the screen. Like,
oh my God. Gorgeous. And I think that was the first time we saw her all episode. So like everyone on Twitter was like, where is Lily? Where is Lily? Like, just bring us Lily.
True. The last time we saw her, she was like,
yeah.
Like,
you see this gorgeous shot of like close-up shot of her, and it was filmed beautifully. And to me, at the end of that sort of sequence, when she goes like this and she sort of just blankly stares at the camera, it looks like she's dying, and it's like blood trickling out of her mouth. Wow. Like, that's what I took from it, because like it looked so like, if the camera was just positioned differently, it almost looks like she's lying on the ground and like you see like the blood trickling out. It was really messed up. I was like,
super powerful.
Yeah.
I think it also kind of leans into the fact that like she is like, whenever there's a character in front of a mirror, I think it's always like a moment for reflection. And I think she's like looking at herself being like, this is what I like, this is how far I've come, and like putting on fucking makeup,
but then she doesn't learn anything, and then she goes at the end and does the same thing.
I know,
I get what you're saying, and
I think she's recognizing her darkness, like especially with
she did
the conversation that she has with like Jughead, like she realizes that she's like she's really fucked up right now. But yes, outside of all that, she looked beautiful. It was a gorgeous shot. Well done. Good job. Anyway, so she agrees to meet him at the bunker for privacy, whatever. Cuts to Archie and Eric and Frank talking, and turns out that Eric also got some special orders from the general, and he was like, Archie wasn't the only one that got a talk. And Eric was told, like, take out this like warmonger and you'll like become like the most like special person, whatever. And Eric tried his best to like do that the entire mission, to the point where he feels like he was ignoring the needs of the rest of his platoon. So now he feels guilty. He's telling Archie about this, and Archie's like, honestly, if you feel like this kind of trauma, like, you don't have to do it either. Like, I will fight this fight without you. Like, you can stay on the sidelines and just like be okay. I thought that was kind of cute. Yeah. Because then I was wondering, I was like, Eric is like really pushing back, like not wanting to do this. Like from the get-go, he was like, just let it go. Just let it bring it
back up again. Yeah.
So the fact that like he kind of admits this like extra layer, I was like, interesting. That's a good little writing moment. I'm into that. So anyway, back to bad writing moments. Cuts to Kevin showing Cheryl and her bee powers. She's like, oh my, I can't even read out what I'm writing. So Penelope's like, so she finally gets up and she's like, you guys cannot believe this, because right now Cheryl has her hands in a container of bees with honey combs like all over her hands.
Guys, I don't understand
what
the connection, the correlation to who she is as a blossom.
No,
I don't understand the connection in the story. Like,
nothing.
Are they trying to make us laugh? Because it's truly not happening.
No,
like, I'm okay if they wanted to make us laugh and they made funny content for Kevin and Cheryl, but this is not funny anymore.
I'm just confused.
I'm just confused. Yeah.
And so anyway, so she's trying to call them out, being like, they're such a sham. And Kevin goes off and is like, you're a whoremonger, you're an escaped convict. And I wrote down,
to who?
Bro, to Penelope. He's like yelling at her, being like, don't believe what she's having to say. And I wrote down, Kevin, bro, why the F is this important to you? Why
you have a child? Go take care of your
child. What are you doing here yelling at her mom for? Like, just so you can sing a song, just so you can be a part of a ministry?
Also,
like, you're so lost.
He's so annoying. Also, let's also remember that like Toni is in Riverdale right now. Like, she's not like, even though we don't see her, she is there. She gave birth. So like, Cheryl, why aren't you there with her? Like, why aren't you guys like spending time together? Like, what? They're so far apart.
That will be that moment, right? Kangs will come back together. CHONI will get back together, like with Cheryl and Fangs, or Cheryl and Toni, or Cheryl and Kevin realizing that they're fucking psycho. But I'm not into any of this. And I know that we're probably supposed to feel like this is a crazy storyline, but like, she literally grabs bees and holds them in her hands and shakes them in front of her mom and is like, I am the queen of bees. Like, you are making her too much. Like, she's over here.
It'd be different also if like the congregation had more of a say too. They're like, oh my God, like you made us believe in this, and this.
Yeah.
We never hear from them. We don't hear from anyone. We just see their visual like faces. And then everything else is just a show for Kevin and Cheryl. So, and again, someone on Twitter was like, we've seen this though. We saw it with the farm. Like, we saw all this extravagant, like performance already to convince people of a cult or a religion or something. Like, we've been there, done that. Why are we doing this again? Why are you wasting time? Just don't even have them in the episode then. Honestly, like,
don't even put them in there. Yeah.
Give more to Betty, give more to Jughead then. Like, it's okay, you know?
Yeah, we don't need this. We definitely don't need this. Anyways, Penelope leaves by the end of that scene, and like, whatever, we'll see what happens next. Then it cuts to Archie and Eric, and they're about to go to the tribunal. Well, Archie's about to leave, and then Eric's like, wait up, like, I'll come with you. So Eric does finally decide that he's going to testify against the general. And
also, like, don't these things take like years?
Don't even get me started. Fucking phone call resolve this entire goddamn situation. Like, I don't get it. So speaking of things that like, there's so many things that like just accelerated this episode. I'm just like, you really stretched this fucking storyline. Anyways, Hiram's office, like Chad and his buddies are all like celebrating because Hiram also was an investor in Copter Cab, and Veronica comes in with like a bunch of people to like party with them. She looks real cute, by the way, just like as a quick side note. She looked real cute in that pink. And she goes, Copter Cab is a brilliant idea. And in quotes, I wrote, a business based on helicopters, like the one that almost killed me. Like, at this point in time, I was like, we can't keep going with this facade that it's literally about helicopters.
And it's not to say that like I get what they're trying to do. She's trying to find a hole in his plan.
Right.
But what my point is that like, if you're pegging these people as these top tier Wall Street brokers, he would have dealt with that. Like, he would have been so dumb and like just been like, no one's gonna know about that. You're like the Upper West Side, like famous like couple, like people are gonna know about your life. Like, so that's the only hole in the story of mine that I'm just like, he wouldn't be that stupid. And if he was that stupid, Veronica, like, what kind of husband did you choose? Like, seriously.
Idiot. Like, that's the thing. Like, after high school, did she go on like a bender and like get into like a shitload
I don't know.
of like,
And I honestly, I am rooting for her story. I am rooting to see that gap of time in her life. Cause like, I want to know where the F she went so off.
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
I want to see it.
But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go back to that now, like, especially with the way that they like ended up the storyline. But like, anyway, we'll see. Cuts back to the bunker, and we have a nice long conversation with Bughead. Our Bughead fans were
this was the moment, right? Like,
this is the moment. Yeah.
And you know, I was excited too. I was like, what are they going to talk about? Are they finally going to sort of like come to a resolution and really deal with their issue that they haven't dealt with all this time? You don't need to be a Bughead fan to enjoy this scene or like to appreciate this moment. Yeah. But seeing it on Twitter, everyone's like, yes, yes, yes. And then it just ended and everyone was like, that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, RAS strikes again. Like, strikes again. He overly hypes something up, and then it's literally 45 seconds.
Yeah. And nothing was really resolved at all.
Other than the fact that like she just explains where she was the night that she didn't come to his book signing. Like, that was it.
Like, outside of that, like, we got no more information. Yeah. There was no like level of forgiveness. There was no like, I'm sorry I fucked your best friend, and like I know that you're still traumatized about that. Like, there was nothing. There was no deep. There's nothing deep. So for anyone who thinks Bughead is still going to happen, just watch this scene again and like let me know what you actually think about what's happening right now.
No, they can't, because they're so delusional and they think that like there's something there. I'm not saying there isn't something there, but when they have this opportunity to really talk about their demons and like what's happening, they can't even do that.
Like, your girl Betty just fucking ghosted him after.
She literally leaves the bunker. There is only one way out of that bunker. He is so wrapped up in his own world and his own narcissism that he couldn't even hear her leaving door, that like, squeaky ass door and slamming shut. He turns around, he's like, oh my God, she's gone. Like, that's the narcissist that you are. Like, you can't even hear outside of your own
but also just goes to show that Betty could give a flying fuck about what's going on.
That kind of shocked me too. Yeah, like, she really was like, bye. But I mean, I was like, wow, she really doesn't care. Her
sister is probably was murdered by a trucker.
You know what really offended me? Like, he didn't even once ask about her. He didn't even once say, how are you doing? Like, have you found Polly? Like, are you okay? Like, what if you're not going to find her? Like, do you need my help?
Yeah. I
don't think he once asks her if she needs his help.
Yeah. I mean, I think that he's not even in the position, and she knows that. She looks at him.
No,
and she's
I'm
like,
sorry. It doesn't matter.
Like, I don't need your help. You're fucked up.
It doesn't matter how far gone you are. He does admit, he's like, I'm an alcoholic. If you didn't already know that, like,
Yeah.
Like, if you truly cared about her and you truly, truly were trying to like fix yourself and be a better person for everyone, you would have just asked her, are you okay? Do you need my help finding your missing sister of like months?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
I mean, I agree with it. I do understand like their perspective. Like, he's too fucked up to do anything. But at the same point, I'm like, if you're talking about Bughead and Jughead and like all that, then there should have been an opportunity for him to at least make a moment out of this moment, because there was
and you know what I mean?
There.
Like, I totally get it. Like, you're in your own world, right? But one line of him asking how she's doing and like if she's okay, would have made me be like, oh my God, I know he's going through a hard time, but like, wow, he asked her how she was. Like, he cares.
I think he does say something along the lines of like, what you're doing is dangerous. So like, he's caring about like what she's doing now,
but like, he doesn't offer to help.
He doesn't offer a solution. He doesn't say anything about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's true. In terms of like what they were in high school, he's not bringing any energy that's making her feel any better. Like, let's remember, just like, let's have a quick real moment, guys, everyone. Remember the time, everyone, where she had like the Betty scars on her hands, and how big of a moment that was at Pop's Diner, where he kisses her hands and they have a hug. It gives me chills even thinking about it, because I remember it being such a powerful moment. How like he was willing to like,
because he was there for her.
The darkness. Exactly,
he was there for her.
And you compare it to something like this. Do not even tell me. Don't even try to tell me that there's any level of connection that they have right now. There's zero, negative, nothing.
And I want to believe that they do. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I want to see that. I want to see that same Jughead that took her hands and like kissed her hand and like said everything's going to be better. Like, he hasn't done that for her in so long. It's always been about him. It's always been about his issues. pulling him out of whatever the case may be. I'm just over that. Like, I'm really over her trying to always save him.
Yes. And I just think that, like, you know, the one thing that I did appreciate about young Jughead is while he was like dark and broody, he also had a level of mystery and romance that he brought to his character.
Romance. Yeah.
There's none of that. No excitement. Seeing him have a Pop's milkshake was the happiest we've seen him in episodes. Last episode when he was holding up his like fucking chocolate milkshake. Outside of that, this guy's been a miserable F this entire time.
Which is fine. Again, like, it's okay to be miserable. It's okay to, because you have your issues. It's fine. But when it comes to the one girl, the one person that like always has had your back, I could use a little bit more dialogue in the sense of like you caring for her and you going out of your way to make sure she is comfortable and she is okay. And you have not done that.
I'd love to hear the dialogue around this, everyone. You know that we're a podcast that tries our best to be as neutral as possible, but we obviously just are trying to follow what makes the most sense. I would love to hear a Bughead's like take on this idea, where things are at, where they're feeling things are at. There's no slamming allowed on either side, but let's keep conversations going in our podcast.
That's the thing.
We're down to have these conversations.
Exactly. And we are not on either side of the spectrum. We have always been in the middle. Yes, we love BARCHIE. Yes, that's fine. We like to shake things up and we like something that's a little bit more exciting and not as predictable and like stale. But having said that, again, in this moment, I was rooting for Bughead. I was like, have your conversation, like go there.
This
like,
is it.
Let's go there together. And like, he still couldn't get there. She couldn't get there either, obviously. But yeah, for sure. Agreed.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to the conversation, she goes on to say, like, because he said that he's an addict and he's trying to, like, you know, apologize. She goes on to say that she's addicted to like something. She's like, I went to school and I felt very empty, like nothing like felt good. And it was interesting to hear that perspective, because I feel like, anyway, it was very cool to hear.
You know what though, to me, and I don't know if anyone else felt this, when she was talking, and I loved everything she said, and it was so she's a freaking amazing actress.
I love Lily Reinhart.
To me, she could have been saying that to anyone in the show. It didn't even feel like, to me, she was talking to the love of her life. Like, it could have been replaced by Archie. It could have been replaced by Veronica. It could have been like CHONI maybe, or Cheryl.
I wish it was replaced by Archie. Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, it didn't even feel like she was saying this to Jughead because it was Jughead. It just felt like she needed to get it out, and she just had a revelation. So true.
Yeah, because all he offered back was like, classic Cooper.
Yeah, and then he calls her classic Cooper. Like, how? I was livid. I was like livid because it sounded like he said that as like you and your white problems, like you and your rich
typical
girl problems.
You, like having all these dysfunctional issues. Yeah,
I was really pissed at that comment. I don't think he meant it like that.
No,
like,
I don't think
I took it and I was like,
you're like, I am offended for
no, because it's like, why are you saying classic? I could say that about you loser. Like classic Jughead. Can't get out of the bunker. Like you don't say that when you're having a heart to heart. Like,
that's so funny. Okay, let's move on. So she does go on to say that she's more comfortable studying serial killers and socializing, and she had an offer for a job the same night of his book release, and she had to choose between him and the task force for the TVK, and that's why she ended up not going to see him. And by having to make that choice, she had to take that D. Like, that was the reason why she could not see him.
In that shot that we see when she doesn't go to his thing, she is in bed with someone else.
She's in bed with Glenn, I'm sure. Glenn. Yes.
So do you believe that was the real reason, or do you believe because she was like getting the D from Glenn?
I mean, I think that it's both. I think that she was getting the D from Glenn so she can be on the task force. So she was like, I'm so sorry, Jughead, my ex-boyfriend from high school. I need to fuck this guy to get a new job.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. So anyway, at this moment, he gets a call from Sam. Sam basically says, first of all, he read that book so fucking fast. Like, it happened in less than 24 hours.
45 minutes.
Like, that book was tick, and you read that entire fucking book. And how did he get the book to him that fast? Did he fucking like airdrop that shit? Like, drone drop that shit? Anyway, too many holes in this fucking storyline. So he does end up saying to Sam, honestly, you can't read that book. It's plagiarized. I stole it from someone else. Sam basically says like, wow, you're so fucked up. I can't believe you plagiarized. We're going to have to drop you
What
as
made
a client.
him realize that he can't plagiarize?
I guess the conversation with Betty is what we're supposed to believe.
There was no connection there to me. Again, there was no connection
agreed.
to that. A realization of like, oh, I can't do this.
Like just seeing Betty made him realize like, oh, I'm drinking and I stole someone else's book. I guess I shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Like it didn't make sense.
And then he turns around. She's not even there.
And she's not even there.
Bro, like she doesn't give no shits
it was poorly written. Maybe there's something was cut out that we don't see. Like maybe they had to cut it. Something was off. Like they could have written that so much better.
Yeah. And also he got the book so fast. I almost thought that like Jess had turned his book in. Like, because she's in New York. I was like, oh snap, like it's gonna be his book. But no, like they could have done so many things. But instead we got this. Anyway, she's gone, and that's the end of that scene. Thanks for the bunker scene. That was not helpful. Thank you. So then it cuts back to Hiram's office, and this is when things go really bad for Chad. Chad starts getting all these notifications that like the copter cab stocks are going like straight down and all this other shit's happening. And then it turns out that Veronica had this whole thing hatched, this whole plan hatched. And she told one of her publisher friends, I'm surprised she didn't say like Katie Keene or like somebody from like
it was
New
called
York.
Like the Wall D Journal or something.
Oh yeah.
Like the Wall Street Journal. Yeah.
And
I also like how one of the guys was like, I'm looking at my boysenberry and like the stocks are like down.
Boysenberry?
Because it's like blackberry, right?
Yeah, I can't even deal. Y'all are so ridiculous. Where was your plug? Where was your ad plug? Where's the Old Navy? Old Navy stocks.
Old Navy was missing.
Old Navy stocks were going up.
You should have bought Old Navy socks.
Yeah. That's what they should have said.
Yeah.
So she goes on to say, you're a worthless, pathetic little worm. You couldn't pull it off. You can't land anything. You'll never be an alpha, Chad. You are a born beta. I love this line.
Love that. I feel like they wrote her whole story just so that she could say that.
Just so she could say that one line. Yeah.
But 100%. But then she also does say like, she's like, because the reason why the things went down was because people found out that he crashed the helicopter with her.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's why it all came out. She's like, didn't you know it was going to come out?
Also, now that I'm thinking about it, if it's now public knowledge, do you think now there's going to be a moment between like Hiram being like, you almost died in a helicopter and you didn't tell me, as well as like Hiram like having that conversation with her?
I don't know. I feel like there's so much missing from the Hiram, Veronica, Chad storyline. Like there's just so many years I feel like we missed. I feel like we could see a wedding again. Like, there's just so many things.
I really just feel like they're ramping really, 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 really hard up to this episode where Hiram, like, I know that we're still theorizing this, that Hiram is going to die. And like, they're going to have a moment where they get to hash it all out. And everybody's like, yay, we're all good. And then
it's going to come to that for sure. Yeah.
It's going to come to that. It feels like it's going to come to that. I'm sad about it, thinking about it, but I just can't wait because I want to see them actually interact like this entire time. All these years later, they still haven't had a conversation about like why didn't you invite me to your fucking wedding, girl? Like you're stealing my palladium. You can't even have one conversation with me. And why isn't Reggie being like, go talk to your dad? He's not that bad. Like, doesn't make sense. Anyways.
Yeah. As much as obviously we don't want Mark to leave. We love Mark and I love Hiram, but like I do feel like him dying is like a pretty sick turn in like sick in a good way. Like it's a really cool turn the show would take, because I just think it would shift a lot of things for her storyline that has been lacking. I think for a long, it's missing something at its core for a long time. Veronica's storyline. So agreed. I do feel like if he does die, that like her storyline is going to get really interesting.
I hope so, because losing a character,
I think
like
it'll make her think about things differently, you know, like, and maybe they will have this heart to, obviously I want them to have this heart to heart before, if he does die, like before he dies, and then
they have to, they won't kill him off without them having that moment.
Yeah.
For sure. Unless they're trying to replay the moment where like he never got to have that moment with his dad. So then he like, it kind of like solidifies that Veronica becomes this like dark person because like she lost her dad after all of this.
Ooh, I just got
That'd
chills.
Be tragic too.
Yeah.
Ooh. Anyways, speaking of her fucking up her dad, this is when she tells him about the palladium that she stole and now sold to like Mr. Sand. So again, she ends up like revealing her secret, but like she's literally admitting to the fact that she committed theft of over $250,000. He can literally sue her ass if he really wanted to.
Her plan just really wasn't
like, they can go to jail. Like that's some serious shit.
Yeah.
And what, he's just gonna sit there being like, this is my lifelong dream, but like, sure, you can steal all my money.
Like, sorry, daddy, your investment went down. He's like, I didn't even put that much money into this, so like, calm down.
Like go fuck yourself. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes, because that's the thing. I don't like the way that it's going for Hiram. Going back to what we were saying about this theory about him possibly dying, I don't like the fact that they're turning him like this way. Like, he's losing everything. He's not getting what he wanted. He's never going to achieve his dream, and then he's just going to die.
Yeah,
it's kind of not fair.
Yeah.
I know it's like poetic and romantic and sad or whatever, but like, it sucks. I am not happy about his daughter stealing money.
But you know what, J-Lag? I think ultimately what he might realize is that it was never about the palladium. It was always about family,
the relationship.
Like, like ultimately, like that's all he ever wanted. So maybe he will get to that realization too. Like, you know,
good point. All right, writers, we're holding out hard, guys. For y'all.
If you need us to write that finale, we are here for you.
We got you.
We'll get on a Zoom call. We write for you.
All right, so then it cuts to Pop's diner, and Jughead talks to Tabitha, and she basically says again, like, I smelled alcohol in your breath. Like, you need to get sober again. Like, please just take care of yourself.
Shout out to Tabby for literally keeping everybody in check.
Yes,
in Riverdale.
billion.
What the F would you do without Tabitha?
Yeah,
like honestly,
who are you talking to? She's the most patient person, angel in this world.
Supportive, caring, like
empathetic.
Oh my god, she's amazing. Like
yeah, like Jughead Jones does not deserve Tabitha.
He does not deserve even half of Tabitha. He doesn't even deserve her onion rings.
Not the top half, the bottom half. No, none of it. None of the onion rings. Not the milkshakes. Even though they bring all the boys to the yard.
They do.
So they do. So she says that she cares about him, and she gets him to promise that he's gonna get sober and go back to his meetings. And then she's like, okay, now you tell me what the fuck is going on with Betty. So then he goes on to talk about Betty. Cuts to Hiram checking the model box, and he pulls it out, and it's like turds, like dry white turds that he's
what was that the palladium was
so
fake.
It's like fake. Yeah, so he like crushes it in his hand. He's like,
why would he keep it in the model? Why would he just like put it in a safe? He had a huge safe, but
that was his idea, I guess, like to like a secret stash of the palladium.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it's all gone. Idiot.
He's livid.
It's gone. He's pissed. And then it cuts to Archie getting a phone call at home. Full storyline resolved. I'm gonna go home now, guys.
In 42 minutes. Yeah.
I know. In 20 seconds, the entire storyline got fixed.
In a phone call.
He hangs up the phone, and he's basically like, Eric, your story was great. Thanks for telling it. You are like honorably discharged.
Also, like,
and then
he explained
like, General goes to jail.
Yeah, he's like, okay, so Eric, for you, they said that. Then for the general, I'm like, Archie, that phone call was literally 10.5 seconds. Like when did they explain everything to you? Like, it could have been like an email at least. Like,
yeah, and tribunal, like. It's true. This tribunal probably would have taken years. This guy's like one of the biggest fucking generals. Like,
to me,
it just wasn't believable.
Also, like, for us, we understand that, right? Like, we know like how the court systems are, but like if you're a younger person watching this show and you're like, yes, Archie, fight for the veterans, yes, in 42 minutes you can like
solve
get the
everything.
Guy fired. It's like, guys, that's not how this works. Like, this shit takes a long time, and it's costly. Like, it takes hundreds of thousands of dollars for lawyer fees. No one even mentioned lawyer fees. Your mommy's a lawyer.
Yeah. What the hell? Yeah, I understand why they want to accelerate it. We talked about it in the beginning of the episode, but like, it's just, this ain't believable.
But now I'm over this, Like, I'm done now.
We're done. We're done here.
I'm ready for him to like start like a different like career path.
Well, that's the thing. It was done when he like went to the reporter to talk about it. So the fact that like they had to bring it in and like finally close the door.
And like, what happened with therapy? What happened with therapy? He's just not going to go again because he had one bad therapist.
Continually like haunt himself. Anyway, yeah, I'm sure they're not done with that storyline yet.
Hopefully.
You're like, please be done. Then it cuts back to Betty at home, and she covers her mom with a blanket. She's like, I'm being
So
helpful.
She's like, Mommy, you can't sleep.
And then
poor Alice.
I know, I feel so bad for Alice. Honestly, we knew this was gonna happen. We knew this poor woman has lost everything.
Point, I know. Do you feel like at this point, like we should have known what happened to Polly, or like, are you still okay with the open-endedness of this?
I'm okay with open-endedness because at this point, like, I'm assuming she is dead, but like, I don't care as much as I was before. I did before. But it is still sad. Like it is. I think the only thing that really reminds me, to your point, is like seeing Alice and like how she's like so distraught about it. Not even Betty, who's like out here just trying to do her thing. That to me is like, okay, girl, like you got to get yourself together. It's more Alice being like, wow, she's a mess. Like her whole life is like literally imploded. Her, like, we can't even talk about the laundry list of shit that she's gone through in her entire life so far. Serial killer husband, serial killer son that she lost, like too many things. So as she's leaving the door, Tabitha, like, she opens the door and like Tabitha's about to knock on the door and she goes, I'm gonna come with you. That's non-negotiable. Like, I'm gonna do whatever you're doing. It's not safe what you're doing, so like I'm coming with you. So she comes with her. Then it cuts to Archie and he does a cheers at the bar. And then he's like, cheers to all my fallen soldiers. I love this moment as well. It shows like a whole wall of like all of them sitting at a booth, and it was like really cute.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Really nice way to end off his story, as much as like we were like, okay, cool. Cuts to Cheryl and Kevin talking, and he's like, hey, Cheryl, so like, how did you do that? Like, how did you put like some sort of ointment on your body? Like with these bees? And she goes on to say, I am Sabrina Spellman from Greendale. Like, what is happening with Cheryl? I don't understand.
I don't know. Like, this just it took too much of a turn. Like, they lost me.
She literally is like, something's shifted inside me, something powerful, more connected to things. I feel more connected to things than I've ever had in years. What if I am a saint? And I was like, what is happening to this storyline? First, her mom thinks that she's a minister. Now she thinks that she's Jesus. I don't get it. And then Kevin's like, fucking Kevin. Anyway, cuts back to Jughead at AA, and he's talking about Tabitha and Betty, and he ends off saying, like, it shows them like doing the whole hitchhiking thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I have a really bad feeling about what's about to happen next.
That's it.
The end.
And when he says like next, it like cuts to like Betty and Tabitha like on the side of the road, and they're like, pick us up. And I'm like, hey, well, this is not gonna work because now you're two people. So
what's gonna
even Betty's face was like, bitch, like go, like this is my mission.
You need to like be on the other side of the street. Like, we can't do it this. Yeah. All right. Well,
that's it.
I don't know.
Me neither.
I don't know. I thought it was a good episode. Whatever. We're moving things along.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're like, now they have an opportunity to reset a lot of these storylines, at least with Archie's, hopefully with Jughead's. I don't know. We'll see.
I wish we got a little bit more like juiciness between like Reggie and Veronica, like a little bit more substance to these stories. Like, it's very like fast paced, and like we're missing like the second layer of like what really makes it exciting to watch these scenes. So I'm missing a little bit of that, but
yes, I agree.
Because then you see like Cheryl and Kevin, and it's like crazy-ish over here, and I'm like, I don't need this, but I could use more of this. Like, so whatever.
100% agree. I think that everything that you just said makes like it's like we're listening to the story, but like not the stuff that we actually give a shit about.
Yeah, that like connects these episodes together, and like you're excited for next week. You're like, oh, maybe they'll have a scene here and there. So that's what that's what I wish we had more of, but we'll see if they,
Let's get into our recap roundups.
Let's do it.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment, I literally put here, it's so hard to choose because this episode was poo-poo. Probably every scene with Reggie, because they're so cute scheming together and they are actually fun to watch. That was my best moment. I just love seeing them on screen together. But to your point, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, Reggie, that was really tight that you like did that to hire him after like he treated you so well. So now I'm just
Exactly. You don't like consider these things because they like make it all like
it's so disjointed. It was so long ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, but then I'm like, true.
Like he's fucking him over real hard.
Yeah.
My best moment is gonna go to the end with Archie cheersing, and then like you see the boys in the back of the bar, like the band of brothers. I thought that was really, it was a really well done scene.
Yeah.
What was your WTF moment?
WTF moments. So many things about Jughead's story. Mainly that he was about to plagiarize. I was just like rooting for him, and then all of a sudden it caught me off guard because I was like, you're gonna go back already? Like it's only been like 10 minutes.
It's been 5 minutes. You've been sober for a week.
So that was like a little shocking. I was just like, I really want to root for you. I really want to be there, but like you're making it really hard. Yeah,
he just keeps doing stupid shit, and it's just like, when are you gonna grow up now? Like no, you're never gonna grow up. You go to therapy. Like Archie can't go to therapy. You go to therapy.
WTF moment.
My WTF moment is gonna go to the Queen of the Bees moment, because she like literally held it in her face, like, and this is when I was like, this storyline is too much. I don't know what the frick is going on. Everybody just please stop this craziness. This nonsense is too much. I can't deal.
Too much. It would, again, like I was saying before, if we heard a little bit from the congregation, if they were like do miracles, like hold the honey in your hand, like if they were sort of like testing her to be like, show us what you can do, I'd be like, damn, like she's showing up, like she's on stage performing. But like literally, like they're all okay with whatever is happening. Like, they have not asked for more, and she is just doing more, and she doesn't have to.
She doesn't have to do any of those things. She had her hands were bleeding 2 minutes ago, and now she's holding fucking bees. Like I don't get it. I don't understand.
MVP.
Who's your MVP?
My MVP is gonna go to Tabby Tab, for literally the only one that has her shit together in this show, and she cares about everybody, and she's there for everyone, and she actually like asks if they're okay.
Yes.
How do you need my help? I'll come through and I'll help you. Like, this girl is running a mother effing business, and she is still on the side of the road with Betty trying to like find this killer.
Listen,
she is out here this season. Like, I love her.
She's out here for sure. She's a ride or die. She is like one of the best characters they've ever written, in my opinion. She is so sweet. Don't change her for a second. I think she's fantastic. Like, such a great.
She deserves a lot more, that's for sure, than just being these people's like mother, basically. But like.
She's literally their mom, like helping fucking Betty, helping fucking Jughead. Like, what is this girl not doing?
Yeah.
Instead of Pops, it's like Maz. Like, it's Mama Tabs. Yeah.
LVP.
Who's your LVP?
LVP, I'm gonna have to say Cheryl. Like, girl Cheryl. I love the outfits, but like, I just don't understand what is happening right now. Like, your girl just had a baby. Go spend time with her.
Yeah.
I don't get any of this. And I know that the ending is not going to make sense. I already could feel it, because this shit never makes sense. Like, it's too crazy to justify.
You're absolutely right. Like, they could have given this time to like show the baby, show any of that.
Even if she just had one scene with Tony to be like, girl, are you okay? Like, do you need me to bring anything? And then also like go and like do her own thing with like the church.
Or even mention it. Talk to Kevin about it. Have a conversation with your fucking side gay. Like, I don't get it. So my other LVP of the episode, because Cheryl was like one of them too for sure, is Veronica. 100%.
Yeah.
Not only was she jacking Hiram's shit, which pissed me off, she's also a fucking idiot for telling him like Chad the plan from the very get-go and starting this whole fucking domino effect of dumbness that she did.
She's stupid.
Like, she's so lost. Like, it's not even like, it's not funny to me anymore. Like, I don't like anything that's happening. And like I said, if it now leads to Hiram dying just for her storyline to get back to normal, I'm gonna be happy that it did, but I'm gonna also be very pissed about it. Because like,
but you know what's gonna happen.
I know.
The best line.
What's your best line?
Best line, I'm gonna give it to Jughead for the only reason that the Pussycats were mentioned once in this episode. It was like the first line of the episode. He's like, our old pal turned superstar Josie McCoy had come and gone, leaving us all to our haunted existences. I was like, yeah, damn right. They took the freaking light from the show and like
back to like the darkness. Sad darkness, fucking abyss of your fucking sadness.
The most accurate line ever.
Description, yeah. My best line is gonna go to Penelope when she goes, "Stop! I've just had a revelation. Jason himself commands it. No more singing." As you know, he was a young man of few words. I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was perfect. And I thought that like she was speaking through like what the viewers were saying, like, stop singing.
Stop it.
Do not sing.
You didn't like the
Do not
singing
sing.
either, because usually you like the singing.
I do like the singing in specific appropriate times. I think that one specific episode, there were like 7 songs.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. It works once. Maybe twice if it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like if they started singing, I would have been like, I'm not watching Glee. I'm not watching Glee.
Yeah, and I said this in the beginning of the season. I was like, I almost feel like they just wrote this in so that Kevin, like the actor Casey Cott, could like sing.
Can have a moment. It's like his audition. It's like live audition.
He likes like musicals and stuff. So
yeah, that's legit what I think. I was like, they try to lean into his strength, so they gave him the storyline, but like instead you just made a character who was already so lost, even more lost because you want him to sing. Like the fuck? You guys are stupid.
Then make him sing. Like put him into a Broadway audition. Like make it legitimate. Like
make him go to New York. Make him leave. He needs to go. Go now. Go be a backup singer.
Someone took a screenshot of like that picture of Penelope saying like no more singing.
Yeah.
And they tweeted they're like attacking the gays once again. Like someone was like,
coming for the gays.
Yeah.
No more really singing. Funny. Oh my gosh. All right, so that's our roundups. Let's go to your listener roundups. Why don't you go first, MB?
Yeah, at Mackenzie L. Burns, best moment, Archie having justice for their fallen brothers, beginning to heal. WTF moment, Veronica using the accident against Chad's business. Makes me not believe it was that traumatic for her.
Boom.
Interesting.
Very good
I like that. That's a really good point.
Because she doesn't even come for him. Like she's in like, how dare you even think about this investment? You almost killed us. Like she could have had a moment.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
MVP Archie, LVP General Taylor. Best line: who knew spreading light and love could be this exhausting? Cheryl. That was a good line.
At RVD Watcher says best moment: Archie defeating General Taylor to heal. Bonus: Bughead people hugging, flopping, smiling face. Oh, I think it's emojis.
Yeah.
Bughead, I guess, right?
Yeah.
It's all just like how it's translated. Number 2, WTF moment, Cheryl thinking she is on
an angel. I think it was supposed to be. Yeah, it was like the emoji.
Oh yeah, like she thinks that she's a saint.
Yeah.
MVP is Archie. 4, LVP is Jughead for only caring about his book after everything that's happened. Abso-freaking-lutely. And best line from Archie: I won't bury the truth any longer, regardless of the consequences. You get them, boy. You fixed this whole solution in 1 episode.
Nailed it. Some more on Twitter. We have at CEO Wens 13. Best moment, Veronica making Chad look stupid. WTF moment, Cheryl actually thinking she's a saint. Oh, did we already do that one? No. Oh, it was the same one.
Same one. Same vibes.
MVP Archie getting justice for his fallen men. LVP Jughead, like he just can't get his shit together.
Oh no, it is a different person.
LVP Jughead, like he just can't get his shit together. He talks about recovery steps with Betty while drinking. True.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah, these came in new, so I guess they had the same WTF moment.
Literally
though. That's
almost
funny.
exactly the same. That's so funny.
At Cynthia 2172968. Hopefully that's not your bank passcode. Best moment, Archie storyline, very heartfelt. WTF moment, fast forwarded Kevin and Cheryl scenes. Yeah, she fast forwarded Kevin and Cheryl scenes. Writers need to do better. MVP Archie, LVP Kevin and Jughead. Love the Reggie and Vero convo regarding Hermosa, but didn't care for her storyline either. Personally, didn't care for this episode. Whoa.
Ooh, big story. Big moment.
Big things are happening, guys.
So that was it. Thank you so much for your roundups. That was the episode. I would like to take this time to thank our patrons of the episode, our Rewinder squad, White and Nicole, our Lit Rewinders, Tina Ann, Soleil, and Kate, and our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamala, and Grace.
If you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind.
And as always, make sure you guys are checking us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter at recap_rewind pod. Our girl MB is out here doing the damn thing.
I'm doing the work.
Check it out.
The Lord's work.
The good work. She is a saint.
Cheryl's work.
Check us out on YouTube, on Facebook. You can also find us on anything that you listen to podcasts on, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes. Like, subscribe, follow, and review to stay with us.
Stay with us.
Stay with us.
Guys, don't leave us alone with this show. Don't leave us alone.
Don't leave us.
Don't leave us.
We're not leaving you alone. You can't leave us either. So much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.